First edition of the Mike Macdonald Show. Hopefully the first of many, many more of these. Coach, good morning. Congratulations.
Hey, guys. Thank you.
What'd you think yesterday? How was it?
Yeah, I just finished watching the tape like 3 minutes ago, so it's fresh, but haven't really digested everything yet. But I'd say overall, again, similar to like the first preseason game, it was incredible to get a win. I thought the guys played really, really hard. Just like we talked about yesterday, just to handle all the series of events at the beginning of the game was something else, something we didn't necessarily expect, but it happened, but we moved through it. And but then watching the tape, man, there's also so much we can improve on. The guys, it's going to be glaring to the guys, and we can take a big step here. We got an opportunity here to take a big step going into the next game.
Well, I think you kind of answered the question there, but I'm always curious after the first game, first time as a head coach, leaving the building. So you didn't watch it last night. You were able to kind of get away and just enjoy the time with the wife and the baby on the way?
Yeah, we had a bunch of people in town, and so I elected not to see them on Friday and Saturday. So it's good to see everybody on Sunday. Yeah, it's tough. I like to let it digest before you come back and kind of watch it with a fresh brain on Monday mornings.
How long does it take to come down from the adrenaline of that day?
Yeah, that's funny. It takes a while. It's hard to fall asleep. But it was happy. These are the things you work for. If you can't take time to enjoy it and savor the moment and all the hard work, everything that everybody's put in, then you're not doing it right. You got to take some time to enjoy it, and then go back to work on Monday morning.
Well, and then you do, and you start looking through the film, and I'm assuming you're like most other coaches who the moment you start looking through the film, everything that seems so great the day before, all of a sudden you start picking apart all the flaws and all the little things that you could have done better. What jumped out?
Just in terms of improvement, Mike?
Sure.
I mean, you could... nobody played no one's ever going to play a perfect game. But how we play and those types of things, I think that stuck out. There's some areas on offense where we can finish plays better. That might be able to pop some more explosive runs, more explosive plays in the pass game. Defensively, I thought the guys played really, really hard. I thought we tackled well for the most part. That we missed some tackles, but it doesn't necessarily show up because there's another guy, to the party. So there's a lot of great examples of guys getting there, and then when guys aren't necessarily hauling butt to the ball, it starts to stick out like a sore thumb. So hopefully they realize what the standard looks like, and then we can fix the rest of those plays.
Did the game against a rookie quarterback kind of play out the way you thought it would? You never know. It's his first snaps. Obviously, it's your first as a DC and head coach here as well. So it played kind of on both sides. But did Sean kind of call it the way you anticipated it?
It's tricky, Brock, because what tape are you going to watch? You got Bo in college with probably, just kind of feeling what type of player he is. You got the preseason tape, and then you have Denver last year, and then you start to, you got a ton of time on your hands, and then you started going back to last time Sean called plays in New Orleans, and then they had played us, or we played New Orleans against Pete Carmichael in 22, and then we played against Sean in 18. So it's like, with enough time, you start going down these deep, dark, these black holes of plays, and trying to get a feel for just how they're going to call it and stuff. And, so against that operation, it's tough to say, hey, look, let's just call our defense without trying to take advantage of tendencies or, how we think they're going to play certain personnels or whatever, how we want to match people and things like that. So, it's tough to feel like how much he's going to give a rookie quarterback on the road. But we just whatever they throw at you, you got to be able to handle. So I think our guys did a great job preparing. That's another thing, talking about debriefing and after action, just our process throughout the week. I think the guys are realizing the importance of keeping our foot on the gas every day and being consistent and making sure we make every play matters in practice and stuff. And we can't have repeats in critical situations and and all that stuff, I think we're going to take a big jump moving forward.
Is that a Navy SEALs after action report that I heard there?
I say debrief, but like I'm not necessarily quoting the SEALs. John Schneider and I met last week, just kind of talking about how we wanted to move forward. He used it, so I'm stealing his words.
Oh, Schneider's got to be the guy. Okay,
well,
now
he's got to send a debrief to the owner. He lets us know about that.
He knows all about the after action reports. Coach, who should we be talking about on the defensive side of the ball? As great as they played, who really made that go yesterday?
Man, I thought our DBs played really well. I think, Reek Woolen deserves. I mean, Reek Woolen deserves a lot of credit the way he played. You know, the ball didn't come to him much, but he was on his details. I thought his technique was really good, and he finally caught the one that came to him, which was a hell of a play. And then Julian Love, I thought, played a great game. Brayshawn Jenkins, I felt, you just felt him throughout. He tackled really well. Trey Brown made a huge play on that slant to Cortland Sutton on 3rd and 5, which was a point of emphasis all week. So, I mean, I think those guys really, really played a great game.
And then, the guy that was everywhere.
I'm sorry. In Kayvon with the Wallace with the 4. I can't. I have to obviously mention that was a big time play.
I got to ask you about your linebackers though, because they're the two guys that we, at home barely got a chance to see. They didn't play much in preseason. They didn't play much in camp. They didn't play much in the off season, and we had never seen them before. And all of a sudden, Dotson was everywhere.
Yeah, C-Dot's done a great job. It's not, again, when you're playing at home with our noise, there's a lot of times I'm giving him the call. He's looking at me like he can't hear me. And I'm like, we're trying to like mouth it to him, so that was pretty crazy. So to be able to kind of translate, the chaos and get that to the guys with all the calls, and we had a couple things we got to fix, but for the most part, that's a big time job. And then when they're moving fast, trying to get it to all 3 levels, it's an underrated burden to have to carry each game. And so to be able to handle that and then play at the level he did, I thought that was really cool. So he did a great job.
And part of the reason that Russell Wilson would name every player on his team when asked a question about anybody is because you can think and look at that and go, well, hold on a second. What about Spoon? But, we sat with you like a month ago, and we had some fun about Spoon and Spoon back and forth with you and him and expectations, and he was everywhere. Now, I think he would have loved to have finished a sack and maybe a pick and everything else. But talk to me about Spoon's game yesterday, because I thought, man, he always plays accelerated, fully, engaged.
I definitely should have, Brock, I should have mentioned him in the DB thing. I mean, I thought he played really well. Again, moving inside and out. I wish he would have finished the 2 sacks. That he had an opportunity to get to the QB. I know he's going to want those back. But look, he's one of our best blitzers. He'll be on the move. You have to account for him in the blitz game. And
why is he so good at that, Mike? Why? What makes him? Because there's a lot of nickel blitz. There's a lot of 4 to a side. But over the last year and a half, as we've gotten to watch him, he just gets there so fast. What makes him a lead in that way?
Yeah, well, so you understand, like, blitz timing is critical, right? Like, you want to be on time to. It's just a function of time and space. And then even if they do have him accounted for, he's like slippery. He's got a way to like work angles, work half a man. He's got a couple of moves up his sleeve that just has a good feel for like how to take on the blocker in relation to where the quarterback is. But yeah, I mean, you felt him throughout the game. He's so active. I know if you ask him right now, he's probably disappointed because of the plays he didn't make, but there's a lot of good stuff on tape.
I assume that there'll be some making fun of him for going for the pump fake 10 yards downfield on the touchdown that Nick scored.
He's in a tough spot there because he's in man, and so you can't leave your guy in man coverage. And I thought it was kind of a clever play, like try to bait him into maybe throwing it,
right,
and make a play. So I thought he kind of improv there, but I thought that was a pretty heady play by him.
Guy I wanted to ask you about, and we watched Derek Hall a lot last year, and sort of waited for the light bulb to come on kind of moment, just given his size and speed and strength and everything else, and it just didn't seem to translate necessarily last year. When you came in, saw him, saw his game, saw the measurables, What did you think of Derek Hall, and how have you sort of mapped out his path and some of the improvement we saw yesterday?
Well, first of all, Derek deserves a lot of credit for the amount of work that he's put in. These guys worked. He's been here every day since just about every workout. Just goes 100 miles an hour. Guy works his tail off. I mean, Hines and CP and AD. I mean, those are the guys that are working with him every day. So they deserve a ton of credit too. But Derek's. I mean, we all watched Derek coming out. The only play that I think of is the play at the Senior Bowl where he sat down that base block, and then when you're just like, oh shoot, like this guy is strong as a bull, and then he plays with power. He plays very hard. He plays relentlessly. I mean, sometimes you got to actually kind of slow him down because his engine runs hot, But I think it's just there's no secret formula. It's just, hey, let's go to work and then keep coaching him up and keep developing. And in the rush game, like, hey, don't try to be somebody you're not. Like, hey, you're a speed to power guy, with a couple speed move changeups, and let's roll. And then in the run game, I mean, I think you saw it again last night. He's so heavy-handed and throws his body around, and he plays the right way on the edge.
Coach, was there anything new on the headsets yesterday going from preseason games to your very first regular season game?
There's some situations where I can be better. Going from, hey, my mind's fully on defense, and then switching into being a head coach as soon as we get the stop. So, I'll be better in those specific cadences. But for the most part, we made a couple tweaks on like who's on what line. And I thought our communication was actually smoother between all three phases and Brian. So overall, we did a good job. We're going to get a debrief here later on, and did not use the word again, debrief. But we're going to go through all the situations and decisions we made, and find ways where we can improve on how we operated.
It was interesting. I was down over the weekend in Salt Lake, and Dave Aranda and I think Clark Lee and Vanderbilt are the only guys in all of college football as D coordinators and head coaches.
Yeah.
And I talked to Dave, and he was exhausted. I mean, the day before, like he was so spent, and he's like, shouldn't really do it, but I have to, like they went 3-9 and won one game at home. And like, I've got to do all this, and I'm, it's 20 hours a day. And he wasn't making excuses. He's just like, it's really hard. And then even in the game, we were showing him, and he's over there with the D line and the front seven and the linebackers as the offense is going. So how do you manage that? It's different at the pro game than the college game, very different, resource wise, play wise, tempo wise, everything. But how do you feel like you can manage that as D coordinator and head coach?
Oh, first, I love Dave's quote about the fighter pilot and the jet.
Yes.
I thought that was great.
Yes.
I can't say I feel too differently, frankly. He's always got an awesome way to describe stuff. I think he's
awesome. Yeah,
he's a heck of a football coach. I know that. He's someone that we've been in contact with over the years. And Clark Lee, I met with him when we were in Vandy too. When we were down there practicing, that was the first time I had talked to Clark, and just respect the heck out of him too. But to answer your question, Brock, I mean, yeah, it's a challenge. I mean, there's a lot of things that go on throughout the week, and it's kind of on paper that like the process that I like to go through takes a long time, and goes all the way up to game day. But look, I mean, that's what we signed up for. That's the game. That's the life in the NFL, and I think the lesson learned is like how efficient can we be on the front end with our processes here, and to kind of expedite that all the backup info that drives some of those decisions earlier in the week, so you can kind of get to the end of the week to figure out what you're going to do, how you script all the details, all the opponent research. I think going through last week's for the first time for real for everybody involved should really, I hope to see some things fall more into place throughout the week. And I think we can hit some of those markers at more like standardized times, if that makes sense. So, we're not always up against the game, but yeah, it's going to be a week-long process every game, and that's okay. And then, throughout the game, I think, again, I have to stay present. Like, especially when we're on defense, I got to put the defensive coordinator hat on. And then when we get into certain situations, you're kind of wearing both. And then once we're off, our defensive staff does a great job of making adjustments and talking to the guys and getting things fixed, and then I can kind of hop back and forth. But then, you're back to managing the game when we're on special teams and offense. So it's going to be you're juggling some things, at once. But I think we can pull it off.
It's a good thing you're young and sprung.
I know.
I mean, it's a good thing you're so young.
You use that word process and then sort of the game management decisions. Can you take us through some of the process on the final offensive drive? You're going to end up with a third down. You end up with 2 third downs because of the penalty, but the decision to run or pass, how does that decision get made? What was the thinking behind deciding to throw?
Yeah, well, we kind of code out we call them 4-minute third downs. So based off the risk that we want to take and how we want to handle the clock. And, just with where Denver was with timeouts, it just felt like we needed to be aggressive in that situation. And ultimately, all these decisions are my decisions. So just get that to Grubb. I think I got it to him after the first down call, and then he calls the rest of the drive accordingly. So I thought he made a great call, and I just finished watching the play. I mean, it was just a tremendous play. I mean, like you watch it, the coach's copy. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but I mean that window was so small, and then the play that Tyler made, just be able to make that, it's just incredible. I mean, it was incredible.
How do you judge the risk reward? Because if Tyler doesn't make a one-handed catch, now you're punting them the ball back. They've got that timeout and even more time to go. What goes into the decision making there?
Well, yeah, it's a sliding scale, but you did like quick, back of the napkin math. You're looking at I think if I remember right, if we didn't complete that pass, you're looking at 140 with a timeout. I mean, they're in a 4-down situation anyways. That's plenty of time to go down the field. So we're going to have a 4-down situation on defense regardless. If we ran it and they used the timeout, you're still looking at maybe 140, but no timeouts. I mean, that's still a lot of time, to go down the field. And so we're like, shoot, I mean, it's basically the dang same situation. Let's go try to put it away right now.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
A lot's been made, and I think players were asked about it, Mike, after the game. We've talked about it this morning. Can you take us behind the scenes a little bit on your first regular season halftime and how much really goes into quote-unquote halftime adjustments?
Well, yeah, I think halftime adjustments in general are overrated. I mean, you should be adjusting as the game unfolds. So it just gives you a little bit more time to kind of take a deep breath and get settled and get everybody on the same page, I think is probably the biggest opportunity there. Like I said yesterday after the game, I mean, I'm going back to with the defense. The offensive staff deserves a lot of credit. We knew we wanted to put an emphasis on the run game, but to change up some of the formations and without getting into all the strategy involved, but I thought they deserve a lot of credit to be able to say, hey, maybe we got to go here within the game plan, adjust some of these things and how we're building some of this stuff. And then, the players deserve a lot of credit too. I mean, everyone's kind of had, we're aligned in that moment where, we were poised, we were ready to go, kind of attack the second half. We knew what we needed to do. And I thought when you watch the tape, our execution, rose to the level too. So, the guys, the coaches did a good job of adjusting and stuff, but the players are the ones going to make it happen, and I thought they did an awesome job with that.
Do we have updates this morning on either George Fant or Kenneth Walker?
No, I have no updates yet.
Yet.
Normally, it'll take some time to get us all the news on injury stuff.
Not yet, Salk. The power in the internet's down there, for crying out loud. He had to watch.
Can't even look at the imaging.
He had to watch a game tape on his phone. Okay,
Right.
He's trying to figure things out as much as he can.
You ever been harassed by an ex-player in the middle of a game while you're trying to call a game?
I like how you held that, Mike. Just throw that up there.
Yeah. We got 5 minutes left. Let's just throw. Is Marshawn just America's guest? He just kind of goes wherever he wants to go whenever he wants to?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty awesome.
What a life.
I'm there, and then I was like, okay, hey, what's up? And then I'm thinking, that was it. And all of a sudden, there he is again.
Did you even know him?
Well, so we've met a couple times, and then I've just been personally. How are you not a huge fan of Marshawn Lynch? And it's funny. We actually we talk about like team DNA and who we want to be, but there's a quote that he said out there that I can't repeat. I guess this is my radio show now. I shouldn't be using that language, but everyone else knows what I'm talking about. But that's part of our team DNA. He's right. He's right in the thick of it. So, it was awesome to have him around. He's like you said, he's America's guest, but he's also the Seahawks guest. We'd love to have him whenever he wants to be here.
Hey, just along those lines, as we wrap up here, and thank you for doing this, the first of many Mike Macdonald shows over the course of the year, as you just kind of look at the big picture of what your team did in all three phases of that film you digested this morning, between, and I think you said to Salk, like, well, you can ask the players. I'm not going to tell you what our identity is or everything behind the walls. You can ask our players. Eventually it will come out. What did that 60 minutes of tape in all three phases speak to your team week number one?
Yeah, I think process-wise, we're on the right track. But it's, I guess I keep going back to like what it felt like after the first preseason game. It feels like a good foundational start. It's awesome to get the win, but you can't. There's a lot of things in that first half that you can't be messing with, if you want to win consistently. So.
Like fumble punts and back-to-back safeties and sacks, stuff like that? Okay.
In certain situation stuff, but I want our mentality to be like, hey, let's just, whatever happened, good or bad, let's face it head on. There's no ego involved. There's no, it's just like, hey, what's best for the team? How do we kind of push this thing forward? Coaches included, all the decisions we're making. That's the spirit we want to have when, after games, so we can continue to get better. So we're playing our best football at the end of the season. So the guys will have that mentality, and that'll be the message. And it's super positive, obviously, but there's so much room for growth. And I want to make sure we take advantage of this opportunity we have.
Last thing is just be more big picture, and it's really more of an NFL question. Brock and I were talking about this earlier. The passing numbers, at least for week one, are way down from where they were a couple of years ago. Unless there's 660-something yards passing tonight. Combined, it'll be the lowest week one passing yards amount in decades. And
passing touchdowns,
Passing
too.
touchdowns was at a 10-year low or 5-year low, something like that.
I love it. Let's keep it going.
What do you think's going on?
That's a great question. That's something to pay attention to. I'm not sure. I think maybe there's some more teams starting that are kind of living in the too high world and taking people's temperature in the run game to see if they can stop them in too high. And a lot of the explosives, I think, probably, one high defenses. So maybe that's part of it. But man, I haven't really been able to see all the plays to make a educational guess on that. But that's interesting that you mentioned that.
Well, the amount of teams that were having more success running the ball, and you guys certainly kind of came to life when you started running the ball yesterday. If you got a chance to see last night, Detroit running it down their throat in the overtime drive, which was pretty awesome. Maybe it's something we can talk more about over the course of this season. Hopefully, they're all great. We're all coming in every time after a win like this, and everyone will be happy. It'll be the Mike Macdonald Show of joy every Monday.
Well, we're going to debrief it, and we'll see about that.
We'll do a little debrief.
We got our own debriefing going on here too, Coach. So thank you so much, man. Congrats to the family.
No Gatorade bath yesterday, huh?
Say that again?
No Gatorade bath yesterday?
Oh, hey, one win, man. That would have been way too premature. Maybe we can get that done in February.
Okay, so that you really freeze to death out there. Coach, thank you. Congratulations. Awesome. Good luck in New England next week, and we'll talk to you on Monday.
All right, guys. Thank you.
All right, there you go. Brock, there is the first ever Mike Macdonald Show.
So good.